Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I got court today over in Cheektowaga Town Court at 9 a.m. See how that goes. Yesterday was a good day. Wrapped up a job that was working on for a while, so that was really nice to have that happen. And looking like we're probably going to not finish the other job that we had tomorrow. We've run into a couple of other issues, not being able to get out and do things, but looks like we'll probably have that job wrapped up early next week and then on to the next one. So, court today, did a little bit of review. Now, my attorney wanted me to pay him $2,500. And every one of you guys were so great, making me feel so amazing that, we're going to set up a GoFundMe page and we're going to get money and contribute it to you guys. I just can't thank you guys enough for doing that. And even the group that we're meeting on Thursdays, and we should be meeting today. I've got to confirm that and lock that down. But it'll be our second in-person meeting, and it'll be our third actual meeting. We had another meeting on Monday, and this group is just, like I said, everybody's so great, so accomplished, so capable, so competent in doing everything. Putting us all together has just really been extremely encouraging for me, especially with all the other groups. Everybody's been doing things, which has been awesome, but this is really where we're going to get the rubber to meet the road. So anyways, court today at 9 a.m. And we know how that goes. I'll probably be there until like 3 this afternoon and probably get arrested then, for whatever reason. I'll be criminally trespassing on the court grounds because they told me I had to go there, or they would put a warrant out for my arrest. So, in case everybody's wondering, if you haven't heard, what happened was I was arrested at the wine cellar on George Urban Boulevard on June 26th. I went there, grabbed a bottle of wine, and I've been in there multiple occasions prior to that, and everybody, no problem. The waitresses, or excuse me, the clerks, at the register, they said no problem. And one time there was a clerk that said there was an issue. Manager came out and said there's not an issue. Let them buy the bottle of wine. There's no issue. The day in question, what happened was I walked in. I didn't have a mask. The girl who was a cashier yelled over, "You can't be in here without a mask. We can't sell you." She never said you can't be in here without a mask. She never said that. She said that you have to wear a mask. That's what she said. And I said, no, I don't, because I been in here and I explained it 3 other times. There were no issues. The manager said there was no issue. She says, if you're not wearing a mask, can't sell you a bottle of wine. And I said, well, I guess I'll come up and we'll see how that goes. Because last time I came up, the woman said she wasn't going to sell me a bottle of wine. And the manager came up to me, and the manager came up to both of us and said, yeah, sell them a bottle of wine, no problem. So we had precedent on how they handled my situation, even after the mask rules were in place. Now, that previous time, what had happened was I notified them that I had a medical condition, and that I also notified them this time that I had a medical condition immediately. I said, management spoke to them last time, said it, you don't have to tell you what it is, and that was fine. So then I had 3 individuals follow me over to where I was going to purchase the wine, and they were just hovering around me. Now, nobody asked me at any point to leave the facility. Nobody asked me to leave. And all they said was, you have to wear a mask or we can't sell you a bottle of wine. That was all that was said. That was all that was stated. And then at the very beginning, when I walked in, she said, you have to be wearing a mask. That was it. Nobody had asked me to leave the premises. Now, they've been informed that I was there and I had precedent where management had said I could be there without a mask, and now that changed. They were notified that I had a medical condition this time that didn't allow me to wear a mask, and nobody asked me to leave, but they said that they weren't going to sell me a bottle of wine and that I had to wear a mask. So I went over and I spoke to the one individual. They all kind of parted ways. So I went over and I talked to the one individual, and I said, look, you know that, the ADA, the rules, $75,000, $150,000 fine. Second time, I said, you get that. You said, you know that you can't force somebody to wear a mask, right? Inside the store. He goes, we know that. He says, but, we're still telling you, you got to wear the mask. And I go through it over and over and over and over again. And finally, he says, well, you can be in here. He says, but you got to be up at the front counter. And if you go up to the front counter, you wait there without the mask, we'll go back, we'll pick up your bottle of wine, and then you could be on your way, and you got your bottle of wine and you're all set. So all that happened. I walk up front, no problem. 3 of the clerks go back. They ask me what I want. I tell them what I want. They go back and they're looking for what it is that I want. Now, in the meantime, Cheektowaga police officer walks in and he asks me, he says, hey, would you mind coming outside with me? And I turned to him and I said, well, do we have any business? Am I being detained? And he said, well, no. He goes, but, I want to talk to you. And I go, I'm not sure what about. I'm going to get wine. These guys are going back to get me a bottle of wine here, and then I'm going to go on my way. And then at that point, the officer again said, would you mind stepping outside with me? That's all he said. Not, you have to come outside. Would you mind stepping outside with me? No, I'm waiting for my bottle of wine, and I'm going to get it, and then I'm going to go on my way. And the 3 individuals that were going for the bottle of wine, one of them said that the owner had called them and said not to sell me a bottle of wine. Still, nobody said that I couldn't be in the facility. Not once did anybody say I could not be in the facility. And they were notified of the medical condition. I complied with their request to move up to the front of the store. The officer decided that he was, okay, so that all happens then. I did all that, and I'm there waiting. Nobody got escalated. Nothing was escalated. Nobody was yelling. Nothing. The only one that yelled was at the very beginning. A couple of the people. No, it was just a girl, and she wasn't like irate yelling. She just was like across the thing saying, "You have to have a mask on." That was it. But none of the other people that were involved were, you could see that their moods were getting elevated, but they didn't really yell. So anyways, so then I'm like, okay, well, they're not going to sell me a bottle of wine. I got to go someplace different. I walk outside, go into my car. The officer, Cheektowaga officer, says to me, would you mind waiting here with me? And I go, no, I'm going to go to my vehicle and I'm going to get out of here at this point. And he goes, and I asked him, I says, am I being detained? Do I have any business together? Again, I asked him. And he goes, no, you're not being detained. You're being arrested. And I go, I'm being arrested. For what? And he says, for criminal trespass. For refusing to leave when I told you to leave. And I was like, you told me to leave. At what point did you tell me to leave? You didn't. There wasn't any point you told me to leave. And I should have had it on camera. And from now on, guys, this is your lesson from me about this. Always, 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 always record. Make sure when you leave your house, your phone is charged. Always. And always make sure you record these law enforcement officers. Always. Every single interaction with these people. This guy, he behaved criminally because he wrongfully arrested me for a charge that I looked up this morning because I got prepared to defend myself. I looked it up. Doesn't even come close. He charged me with 3rd degree criminal trespass. When you look up the New York State definition under that code, it says that you have had to have entered into a facility that was secured, and you would have needed to have remained on the grounds, and it's very specific. It's like school, rail yards, and a couple of other places. They list like 7 of them. I can't remember all of them. And then you would have had to have remained on the premises after somebody asked you to leave. and you would have had to have been causing a disturbance. I met none of those criteria. Not one. And this guy arrested me wrongfully because that wasn't even a criminal trespass violation what I did, because at no time did anybody ask me to leave. There was precedent that I had been in the facility before. A manager had told me that I could buy the liquor, no problem, in that store. And then, that time the cashier said you have to wear a mask. And then the next statement she said was, in order for us to sell you liquor, you have to have a mask on. That was it. At no point did anybody ask me to leave. Nobody. And in fact, the opposite. They said, if you come up to the front of the store, you're not wearing a mask, we have provision for people that aren't wearing masks that they can be up there, and then we'll go get you your bottle of wine. I said, great, no problem. Standing there. Didn't do anything wrong. This officer wanted to make an example out of me because I questioned his authority, because he's a mental midget. And a lot of law enforcement officers are like that. They have very low IQs, 90 to 110. Now, that's not my friend. I've got a lot of friends and family members that are law enforcement that are good. They do a good job, and they see through it and above it. And they do everything that they can in order to protect the people. They don't want to weaponize themselves against individuals. They know what it means to arrest somebody and what the implications are of that. This guy knew what those implications were. Now, was I dressed at the time? No, I had just been coming from work. I wasn't really dressed. I was just going to get a bottle of wine. And, I had messed up shoes on. I had messed up sweats. I had messed up shirt on. And, so I told the guy, I said, look, I'm a vet. I, was in the Navy, Seabee. You got my own business. I said, this is everything that happened inside the store, just as I communicated it to you guys now, factually, evidentiary. I said, this is exactly what happened. Where does that elevate to a crime? And the guy said, I told you to leave the facility and you didn't. So because I didn't go, when he said, would you mind coming outside with me? And I said, do we have any business? I just want to talk to you. And then again, he said, would you mind coming outside with me? And I said, do we have any business? Am I being detained? And then he lied, outright lied, because he knew I wasn't on video camera. He knew I didn't have him on video. So if I had him on video, guys, I probably would have prevented myself from getting arrested and having to pay the $300 that I had to pay to get my vehicle out wrongfully, because they seized that. I'll get into that in a minute. But the $2,500 the day that I'm losing, or the morning at least, and it's probably well into the afternoon, because the way these courts operate, they just want to mess with your life. They don't care about you. They don't matter. You don't matter, because you're going in there. You did something wrong. You must be a criminal in their eyes. That's how small-minded these people are. And the guy said, nope, you're being arrested. Put your arms behind your back. I'm going to put the cuffs on now. Then I'm standing there and I'm making a plea with the guy at that point, because I'm trying to be like, what is happening? Like, can you really? Like, this is really happening right now. So then a couple of other officers arrived. They go get the taser. Now I know if I get tased at this point, they're going to charge me to remove the little prongs from my body. And I'm going to have to go down to the hospital for that to happen. So at that point, now I'm trying to mitigate. It's clearly I'm getting arrested at this point. So now I'm trying to mitigate what it is that's going to happen. So I comply with their unlawful request, and they cuff me. And the officer who arrested me, and I forget his name, I've got it written down somewhere, but I'll remember it and I'll get it out to you guys. But he started asking me some questions, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, you're trying to ask me questions. I just described the situation, how it all went down in there. Said I'm a business owner. You could see I'm not escalated or causing any kind of disturbance or issue. You could see I'm not inebriated. But because I question your authority, you're going to try to wield and exercise this power unlawfully. And this is what people like this guy probably do, not probably, they absolutely do to people every day. So when you want to know why there's criminal justice reform and why I've been such a strong advocate for it, this is it. What happened to me is exactly why I am such a strong advocate for criminal justice reform and have been speaking out on it for years because I've been victimized by it. I had a lieutenant in the Orchard Park Police Department lie about what happened, with my daughter. And as a result, I got into a lot of trouble because of it. And I had to pay a lot of money as a result of that. And these officers, they'll do that. And that guy, that lieutenant, oddly enough, a month later gets arrested for the same exact crime that he accused me of. And state troopers had to get involved because Orchard Park Police are so corrupt. Yeah, I said it. Orchard Park Police are not all of them. I know a couple of detectives over there that are good. I don't know many officers anymore over there. There used to be a couple of good ones. But Orchard Park Police Department, extremely corrupt. Abuse of power all day long. And if anybody deserves to be defunded, it's the Orchard Park Police Department, without a doubt. They could defund the Orchard Park Police Department all day long. I'll be dancing. Because you have white-collar people in a town, and you have these small-minded mental midgets that have their sergeants and their lieutenants and their chief directing them to go out and harass, menace, and terrorize people in the town and village of Orchard Park. They set up roadblocks illegally. Supreme Court again just ruled that this was just a year ago. They ruled that it is unlawful and unconstitutional to set up, and the Supreme Court has ruled this every time. The only time they ruled in favor of roadblocks was for public safety, and it passed by one vote because they had a Democrat-leaning majority. It passed by one vote that said, and I don't know if it was Democrat, I'm sorry, so I may have misspoke there, because we know that Republicans are typically the ones that, they want the stronger, it's weird because constitutionally they want to protect the Constitution, but then they want stronger rights for law enforcement. It's just bizarre. So every single time it's come before the Supreme Court that you cannot have, roadblocks set up anywhere at any time of day for any reason that you want. I mean, Orchard Park was practicing fascism, tyranny, and dictatorship long before Cuomo did. And they did it and what they did is they would just, how that starts is that the town superintendent of Orchard Park and the mayor, they get cuts and the police make all their money. It's civil asset forfeiture is what it is. It's extortion, is really what it is, because they set these roadblocks up all the time during the day to just harass people and give them tickets. Oh, you don't have an inspection. And it's the only town that I know of. Buffalo tried to do the same thing, and then they had to stop it because it was deemed unconstitutional that they were victimizing the poor populations and the poor communities who were already suffering. So they had to stop. But in Orchard Park, they don't do that. Orchard Park, they continuously do these illegal and unlawful and unconstitutional roadblocks that the Supreme Court has ruled are unconstitutional, and just as early as last year. So I got off on a tangent there. But anyways, Orchard Park Police Department, very corrupt, extremely corrupt. Cheektowaga Police Department, I don't know all the officers. I don't know the department that well. I really don't. But I know this officer specifically, extremely, extremely corrupt. He's a criminal, is what he is. Because not only did he wrongfully arrest me with a charge that wasn't even met, and even criminal violation wasn't met, there was no crime that was committed. I did nothing wrong at all when I was inside that facility. Nothing. and he arrested me for the charge that he did. And how many other people did that happen to, or has that happened to in Cheektowaga over the years? So they put me in the back of the squad car and they take me down, and I hear them talking about my vehicle. And they're going to take my vehicle. So now that's what Cheektowaga loves to do. Cheektowaga loves to get extra money when they arrest somebody by seizing their assets or seizing their vehicle. So they went in unlawfully and criminally, went into my vehicle, and they impounded my vehicle. They towed my vehicle. They searched the contents of my vehicle. The vehicle wasn't a part of the crime, guys. There was absolutely no justifiable reason for them to search my vehicle. But you know what the law enforcement officer is going to say? They're going to say, well, we thought that he was on something, which is all they have to say. We thought that he was under the influence of something, so we wanted to go into the vehicle to make sure that he wasn't. It's unlawful, guys. It's a crime for them to do that. Absolute crime. Now, I don't know if this guy had a body cam or not, but the body cam will prove that he never told me to leave the facility. And even if he did tell me to leave the facility, that's not his right to do that. It was a private institution. Private institution. So the week before, the cops, Cheektowaga cops, came over to my house, had $4,200 stolen from me, my vehicle stolen from me, property stolen from me, property damaged, and my cat stolen from me. A week before, they told me, we can't do anything for you. This is a civil matter, and you need to address it in small claims court. I don't know, the last time I checked, when somebody wrongfully enters into your property, that's breaking and entering. When they steal property, that's theft or burglary. And they stole property and cash. And Cheektowaga police decided not to do anything for that at all. They didn't want to do anything. As a matter of fact, they accompanied the individual here that took all my stuff and helped him give some of my property back. So now I'm in a private property, a private business, which they have no authority. Law enforcement has no authority inside that private business. And I'm inside there, and they've made the decision to try to go get me wine and to allow me to be on the premises. So for him, and if they're allowing me to be on the premises, then obviously and clearly I haven't committed any other act of violence or crime at that point. Which at that point, law enforcement would have the right to come in and arrest me if I did commit an act of crime. There was no crime that was committed. And in fact, the guy who I was speaking to in the store said, the one woman walked by and she said, you have to have, and he was very nice the whole time. The guy was understanding, completely nice, no issues, no problems at all. Said, come up to the front. They stood up there, even the three clerks, I thought they were being cool about it. They were going to get me the bottle of wine, no issues, no problems. Everything was great. Now, he arrests me based on all of that, and he enters into my vehicle. And all he has to say, and this is all he has to say to anybody, that they took my vehicle because they thought I was under the influence of something else. That's all they got to say. That's it. And they're protected. That ain't right, guys. And I need to go after him specifically and the department as a whole, which after this is all resolved, if I need to bring my attorney, like if it's not resolved today, if they say you need to come back in with an attorney, after I go through after I go through everything with them, if the DA isn't going to listen to me at this point, then I'm going to need to get my attorney, and I'm going to need to spend that money on him to get him in there, which is going to suck. But, by all rights and all measures, after I present the information to the DA, I'm not going to present the information initially. I'm going to say, this case should be dismissed and the arrest needs to be expunged. That's what I'm going to say when I go in. And if he asks why, I'm going to say because the crime that was charged and alleged, there's no way. This is how that statute reads. This is how that law reads. And where does this crime, the alleged crime, meet that? And if the DA says, no, I'm not satisfied with that, you're going to need to bring an attorney back, well, then I'm going to say I'm representing myself today, and that we need to get this figured out with him at that point. And if there's still not going to be any resolution, because that's how these DAs work. I didn't even get into that, guys. The DA's office, now I know 2 DAs in the Erie County DA's office. Both of them are very reputable people. I can't say that about both of them. One of them is extremely honorable, extremely honest. The other woman I've only met briefly, and she comes across to me as somebody who is very honest and very trustworthy. However, I dealt with I dealt with a bunch of DAs over the years. Yeah, believe it or not, shocking, right? That have been arrested so much. But I guess that's what happens when you look this pretty. I cracked myself up there. But anyways, the DA, I had one DA that handled my one case extremely trustworthy, very honorable, very honest. She worked by the law. Then there are these other DAs out there that are complete scum, total scum. And they will lie and do everything they can to get a win, a victory on whatever arrest is out there. They don't care. They just want that win. And they will lie, cheat, and steal to get that win. And I've seen them do it. I've been victimized by it. So when you think it's not happening, that these DAs are honest, they're not all. Some of them are, just like I said. A lot of them aren't. So I'm going to have that conversation with the DA today, and I'm going to hope, against all hope, that that's going to go away and it's going to be over and done with without having to spend the $2,500 to pay my attorney to take care of it. Because once I pay him, it's going to be taken care of, but it should be taken care of today. There's no reason why it shouldn't be ended today. And, so I want the resolution that I'm looking for at this point. The arrest needs to be expunged because the arrest was unlawful. And then what's going to happen? And then the case, then the charges need to be dismissed because there's no, I don't meet what that charge is outlined in. And I'm not even going to say, hey, criminal trespass violation and get in all the details. I'm going to say, where is it that this meets 3rd degree criminal trespass? Show that to me, because it doesn't. It doesn't fit any criminal trespass, much less 3rd degree criminal trespass. So I'll let you guys know. I'm going to charge my phone up today so that I could get back on after court. But that's how everything's going to go. I'm going to go down there around 9 o'clock. I'll probably wear that same blue shirt to try to dress up. It seems like everybody liked me in that. Maybe I'll seem trustworthy. But, I'll go in, I'll dress up, and I'll look the part. But, I'll let you guys know what happens right afterwards. And then wanted to let you guys know because I wasn't able to get on video yesterday. But our video we held at Raphael's restaurant in the morning. And what we did was took video. John Winstead was there. He had his equipment, the computer and everything. It was great. Little, big stand for the camera, nice camera. And then he had the microphone and, testing. So I felt like a superstar yesterday. We did 2 takes. The first take was a little bit long. I had the paper in my hand. And you guys know me, I'm able to kind of put the thoughts in my head. But as soon as I read it, as soon as I look at it, like I know the material, but as soon as I look at it, it all starts to get muddled. But anyways, the first take, I kept the paper in my hand, and it went about 18 minutes. I was able to cover quite a bit, but it went too long. And I had the feeling it went too long. So we did a second take, and I didn't have the paper, and I just went from memory, everything that I wanted to cover. And I watched it, and everything looked good. I didn't look too goofy on camera. We filmed it in front of Raphael's there in Hamburg on the corner of McKinley and Clark. And Ralph Galuzzi, my friend who owns the place, extremely happy that we were able to do that for him, and in front of his place. And basically, what the video was for restaurant and bar owners, and it extends to all small business, but any business or establishment that SLA and health department are being weaponized to terrorize these restaurants. And I said, this is how we proceed. All the conversations, everything that I've shared with you guys. So I said, this is how you proceed. This is how you do it. This is how you handle it. Take the video cameras out, upload those videos to our website, freenys.com, and upload them to all your social media. Once we get them on freenys.com, we're going to upload it to YouTube, our YouTube channel. We're going to upload it to BitChute. We're going to upload links to Instagram. We're going to upload links to Twitter. On our Facebook feeds, we're going to post lives, all of us, so that we expose these people. And then I let everybody know that would be watching the video that we had a big meeting coming up, that they should attend that meeting, and at the meeting we would give them more tools, information, and resources that we will be using to help them. We talked about forming the Restaurant and Bar Coalition that is actually real and going to help these bars and these business owners. We talked about the businesses that were closed down and that was wrong, and trying to pursue action against those agencies that forced them to shut down. So it was a really good video, covered a lot in 9 minutes, and what we're hoping for is that people see this video once we share that, and they can get that to these restaurant owners, because we need and want as many restaurant owners as possible. But what's going to need to happen as well is that these guys and women are going to have to stand together. Like, they're going to have to unite and be a unified front. We can't do it for them. We can be there for them to support them all we can be and want. Good morning, Roger. Good morning, everybody else. Good morning, Courtney. Good morning, Patty. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Nikki. But we can be there, but they've got to be there for themselves. The biggest thing with all of this stuff, thank you, Roger, with the biggest thing is that people have to take ownership of it. You have to take leadership. You have to understand that you are the catalyst, you are the mechanism that can make that change. But only if you do something, only if you act. If you're not acting and if you're not doing anything, then nothing's going to happen. And you can't sit back for somebody else to do it. Nobody else is, guys. You need to be that change. That piece of the puzzle that starts that change, that leader. So there was a big lawsuit, to just kind of an example here, big lawsuit for wedding facilities. And wedding facilities, I don't know who was taking on that case, but they won. They won. I don't know if it was obviously a class action, but they won against the state. And again, another judge, which is encouraging. And we, as our group, are going to start to make lists of these judges that did rule the way that it should have been. And they ruled that wedding facilities was unconstitutional to keep them closed and not be able to operate, but they could open up and operate at 50%. And in my opinion, 50% is still unconstitutional. You shouldn't be able to shut them down by any way, for any reason. Small business. I mean, if you act criminally or you do something like that, obviously, then it's shut down. But short of that, there should be no reason why any private business should be shut down. But this is where that normalcy bias and that conditioning and that indoctrination and brainwashing comes in, guys. This is what I've been telling you. We're in this thing 6 months now. So people think and look at a 50% opening as a victory. And it is, but it's not a victory. It's still a victory for them by 50%, because they still get to keep your business shut down 50%. They get to take 50% of your income from you. The business that you built, the business that you grew, you put your heart, blood, sweat, tears, soul into that business. And they're telling you you can only operate at 50% capacity, just like they're doing with all restaurants. So it's wrong, but it was a good victory. Now tie that victory into all of those victories across the country at Make AmericansFreeAgain.com. That's Americans with an N. So MakeAmericansFreeAgain.com. And you go there and there's a legal tab that they are listing all of the cases there that have been won across the country, specifically with the lockdowns. If you are victimized by a local government agency, county government agency, state government agency, you need to look at that and see what you can do in your county with an attorney that is like-minded and constitutional. So we're going to also do with FreeNYS.com is we're going to put links to that website and those pages, but we're also going to get lists of judges that have ruled favorably throughout this, but we're also going to get a list of attorneys who are constitutional attorneys that have won these cases, have gone against the state even if they did lose, and a whole list of attorneys that are out there across the state that you can go to. It's going to be a resource for everybody. And that's going to be at FreeNYS.com. So the other victory was one that nobody's really talking about down in Lower New York, where it said, Jim Mamigas, he tried the case, or not tried the case, but he took the case to court and he won. And it said that employers cannot force any employee to wear a mask. Fact. They cannot do that. Can't happen. Now, what we want to do as FreeNYS.com is we want to figure out, we want to speak with Jim, and we want to find out if this is precedent that now is a decision that is rendered throughout the state because it was in that one county. And it applies to the entire state. And if it does, you need to share that, guys, through every social media that you have, so that we could get this information out. Share it to the fellow business owners, family, friends that own businesses. Let them know about that ruling, because that's huge. Huge for employees to not have to wear masks. That employers cannot be compelled or obligated by any agency to force an employee to wear a mask, nor can they themselves force or obligate anybody to wear a mask. That's what that ruling said. Now, if it extends out to the entire state, we need to find that out. We'll speak with Jim Mamigas, and once we do, we'll put that information on FreeNYS.com, and I'm going to share it on this video. And if it does, then get that information out to everybody. The other case is that you can share with your friends that own gyms or a small business that this might apply to, like a gym, is that you can turn that gym, this was in New Jersey, you can turn that gym into like a Lexington co-op, where you have the owners of the place, they apply to be, or they get their cards to be an owner, and they get to go in and shop because they essentially own the store. That's what happens with Lexington Co-op. And then other individuals can come in who aren't owners of the store, but they're shopping as well. And I don't think there's more money or not at Lexington Co-op. But point is that you follow the same exact model, and you turn your business into an individual owned business. And then that's a private business, and no government agency can shut you down. And no government agency should have been able to shut down any business. But to continue to put specific businesses like gyms, unnecessarily closing them in perpetuity, essentially at this point, is wrong. Shutting them down at all was wrong. But this is the end around. You make it a private business or owned by the members. Each member owns it, and nobody can tell you those owners of that business can't go there. They have a right to go into that place. It's like telling an owner they can't go into their business, of any business, or their own. You own that home, you can't go into that home. You own that car, you can't go into that car. We shouldn't have ever had to do this, but that's the end around. That they cannot tell you then, as gym owner, that you can't have people in there. These are all individuals that own this business. It's their establishment. They're coming in to use what they own. So share that information as well, because that was a big one. And that's something that anybody can do at any point, at any time. It was a long one today. I had a lot to cover, guys. It was great seeing you all. Enjoy your day. Like I said, I'm going to be on after court today. Court's probably going to go till 6. Ain't no way I'm sitting there that long. I'll be leaving, but I'll let you know how that goes, guys. Love you all, and enjoy your day. Bye.